Today, we're going to talk about the supplements that Dr. Peter Attia recommends. I listened to every episode of his podcast, The Drive, and read all the articles on his website to find this information so you don't have to. First off, Peter Attia is a physician, an educator, and researcher really focused on longevity and increasing the lifespan of people, as well as having the best quality of life for as long as possible. He recently came out with a best-selling book, Outlive, that I have a whole video on, so check that out if you want to learn more. But with that, let's dive into the supplements that he recommends. We're starting off with an omega-3 fish oil. This is an essential nutrients that most of us just aren't getting enough of due to not eating enough fatty fish and marine animals. This is a supplement with mountains of data. It is an anti-inflammatory. It supports your brain health, your skin health, and so many other things. There's actually a lot of research showing that omega-3 supplementation helps with anxiety, depression, and a lot of mental disorders as well. Peter aims to get 2 grams of EPA daily, which winds up being, I think, around 1.5 grams of DHA. And that means that I am taking, to match that, about 2 of a very high potency fish oil daily. I'll usually take 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. The next supplement that Peter recommends taking daily is a vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 is converted to a steroid hormone in the body, so it's not really a vitamin per se. This is really important for your hormonal health, the absorption of calcium into your body, and a plethora of other things. You really want to dose D3 based on your blood levels. So I like to get my blood tested at least twice a year and try to aim for around 50 nanograms per deciliter in those blood tests. I'm always a little lower than that right now, so I will supplement anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 IUs daily. I'll usually do that 4,000 to 5,000 IUs daily in the winter when I'm not getting a lot of light. Then in the summer, I'll supplement less with maybe a 1,000 to 3,000 IUs depending on how much sunlight I got that day or week. The next supplement that Peter Attia takes daily is magnesium. A majority of Americans are deficient in magnesium. So this is a supplement that most of us are lacking just due to not eating enough leafy greens and food sources with a lot of magnesium. Peter Attia mentions taking multiple forms of magnesium. He'll take magnesium oxide, which is more poorly digested. He'll take magnesium chloride, like this slow mag. And then he also mentions taking magnesium threonate in the evening for optimizing sleep and for a magnesium that crosses the blood-brain barrier pretty well. I also really like magnesium glycinate. This is a very well-absorbed magnesium that's also really good on the stomach. Any of these organic magnesium salts are awesome in my mind. In terms of dosing, Peter mentions taking 400 to 500 milligrams of magnesium oxide, which also helps with digestion. He'll say that he takes, I think, 2 or 3 of these slow magnesiums, which is magnesium chloride. And I think that he'll titrate that based on activity level, because as we're sweating and exercising, we need more magnesium than people who are not. And then I think the magnesium threonate that he's taking in the evening is probably like this, which is 144 milligrams. So he's going to kind of combine different magnesium sources to get ones with different absorption characteristics. The next thing that Peter is taking daily that he mentions a lot is a multivitamin or a green powder. He's obviously involved with AG1, the company, so he's recommending that. But I think any high quality multivitamin can be taken here to kind of cover your bases. AG1's pretty pricey and it's a great product. I personally use just a well-rounded multivitamin because it's much less expensive. And oftentimes I'll only take this on days where my diet isn't great. If I'm eating really well and having fruits and vegetables throughout the day, I will just skip the multivitamin, save the money, and save it for a day where I'm not eating quite as good. The next supplement Peter mentions taking daily is a probiotic from Pendulum called Glucose Control. I don't know if this supplement is something that Peter's going to keep in his supplement lineup or if it's something he's just experimenting with. But it is a pretty special probiotic using this Clostridium probiotic bacteria that seems like it's not in many other probiotics. And this strain specifically has been shown to help with those spikes in glucose and kind of lower your A1C, which is definitely protective for things like your cardiovascular health and your risk profile for stroke and heart attacks and things like that. This is a product I'm interested in. It's pretty pricey, but I will mention that Pendulum does make a lower dosed version called Metabolic Daily that you can find more readily. And that one is, I think, $50 to $70 per bottle versus like the $300 of the Glucose Control. The next thing that Peter's taking daily is a protein. He mentions using the ProMix brand protein, and he'll actually mix half unflavored and half flavored just to have less of that flavoring and crap in there while still maintaining I guess, some semblance of tasting good. And this is something that, again, he's taking as more of a nutritional thing to round out his macro protein intake. I don't know if you've ever tried to track your macros for protein, but it's really hard to get that 0.8 to 1 gram per pound body mass. So adding some protein powder is a great way to ensure you're having enough protein in your diet, and Peter is doing this daily. The next thing that Peter mentions taking daily is a folate supplement or a methylfolate B12. Peter mentions taking the Jarrow methylfolate methyl B12. These methylated versions are easier on your kidneys, and he's taking these because it helps modulate homocysteine and kind of keeps his blood markers where he wants them. The next supplement that Peter has backed off taking from daily to about 3 days a week is vitamin B6. This is due to some research showing some neurological damage, like in nerve cells, from taking too much of this. But he is still taking this around 3 days a week. He takes this because it's been proven to reduce your risk of dementia, again, regulating those homocysteine levels and helping with heart attack and stroke risk as well. For these 3 times a week, his vitamin B6 intake is around 50 milligrams for those pills. And the next thing that Peter mentions taking daily is a baby aspirin. Yes, just a little baby ibuprofen. He's still looking at the research on this one. There is very robust research that if you've had a cardiac event like a heart attack or stroke, a baby aspirin will reduce the likelihood of a secondary occurrence. Yet the data showing healthy individuals taking them before any kind of cardiac event is mixed. Peter is still taking it. He's kind of paying attention to the research to see if this will change anything in the future, but it's something that he's just kind of kept in there for now. So those are the core supplements that Peter is taking daily on everything that I can find based on his podcast and his blog and him on other people's podcasts. He also does mention taking separate supplements for sleep. So I want to talk about those as a little bonus to this video. So the ones that he's found effective for sleep, not only for himself, but also his patients, is ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is an adaptogen that really helps regulate your cortisol. So this will help if you're experiencing high levels of stress and help the body kind of unwind for sleep. I have noticed that ashwagandha is really helpful for me around stressful periods. So this is something I don't want to take daily because you're playing around with your neurotransmitters, but it's something that I will take when I'm having a really stressful week at work. If I'm about to travel or undergo anything that I know is going to put my body under more stress, I'll kind of take this to help kind of buffer that effect. For ashwagandha, Peter mentions taking 300 milligrams for his patients prior to sleep. The next one for sleep that he mentions being effective for himself and patients is glycine. Glycine is an amino acid, and I think they believe that the mechanism in which it's helping sleep is actually decreasing your core body temperature slightly, which is one of the signs that our body needs in order to sleep. So as we kind of reduce temperature, we are going to get sleepier and our body is going to get ready for some nice deep sleep. And this is one that I think he mentions taking anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams, probably about half an hour before sleep. Those are the supplements that Peter and his patients are using for sleep. The only other ones I will mention at the last second here is when he's battling jet lag, he says he can use melatonin as well as PS100, very specifically for jet lag itself, just to kind of get your circadian rhythm back on time and helping the body sleep in those really hard periods when your internal clock's all messed up. But with that, I hope you got some value out of this. Peter Attia is definitely an expert in this field and someone that I trust because he's always looking at the latest research. So he's definitely someone I look to when I look at my own supplementation regime. I hope this gives you some good ideas for your own supplements, helps explain some of it a little more. And if you want to see more videos like this, a like and subscribe goes a long ways for my new and growing channel, and I would appreciate that immensely. Until then, stay healthy, and I'll catch you on the next video.